Welcome to Honest Hippie Homestead. It's a lazy, rainy Sunday on the homestead for today, so we're going to have ourselves a couple beers and we're going to talk about the process for getting a home on our homestead.
All right, first we just want to say that we are not lenders and we don't work for a mobile home or manufactured home lot. This is just our own experience and what we learned in the process. So why a manufactured home? And after doing some research and looking at some of them when we originally started shopping, just realized that they are made in a much better quality nowadays than they used to be back in the day. Plus, mobile homes have a wide range of pricing, so you can find one that fits your budget. And we believe, and I'm sure most homesteaders also agree with this, that it's always wise to live below your means, and having a manufactured home is a great way to achieve that.
So, where to start? I would advise trying to get yourself pre-approved for a loan, either through a lender, through a bank. In my experience, it's going to help you maintain a lower interest rate. Obviously, every loan's going to be a little bit different and every location's going to be different. But typically, if you go through the manufactured home place, the interest rates typically are going to be a little bit higher. So I would advise trying to get pre-approved through your bank or whoever it is that you want to use. There's a couple different types of loans that you can get. There's FHA loans, there's conventional loans. I'm not going to go through the gamut of differences between the two. Both of them have their pros and their cons. So FHA loans, they tend to be a little bit easier to get. You don't have to have as high of a credit score, and you can usually get them with less of a down payment, which can be nice, but they are federally insured and backed by the government. So there also tends to be a lot more regulations and restrictions on what you can and can't do, foundation requirements, insurance requirements, which some people don't like all that. So conventional loans are also an option. So do your research, figure out which one's going to be best for you. Also, when it comes to refinancing, there's restrictions on what you can do when it comes to refinancing that loan later on, depending on whether it's FHA or conventional. So do your research, figure out which one's going to be best for you. And then once you have that pre-approved, now you're on to your next step.
And along the lines for loans, just know that there's different options. You can finance everything. So the home, the dirt work, the land, to put it all together. The option that we went with, though, we bought the land and paid for the utilities and just financed our home only. So there are different options there, but each has its pros and cons. It was a lot of work and research on our own the way that we did it, though. And I think looking back, we discussed that if we could go back and do it all over again, we would just get one loan for everything, for the home, the dirt work foundation, and the land. And then if we weren't happy with the rates or whatever, just refinance who we wanted to go with at a later date. So just know that that is an option. And to make it easier on yourself, just go through the mobile home company. I know it's a higher interest rate, but they're going to have their people do the utilities. They can give you land lists to go look at if you don't have land yet. And plus there's going to be the lot there with lots of different mobile home options. So to make it easier on yourself, you can go through them for everything and refinance with your own person later.
And we did a video a while back about finding land and some things to look for when you are going to purchase land. And we will link to that video. That way, if anybody is going through that process, you can watch that as well. One of the things we talked about was making sure if the land has an HOA or anything like that, you're even able to put a mobile home on the land, right? Because if not, there's no point in getting it. Now, once that's been established and you can do that, you don't have to get a loan to do the dirt work, the foundation and stuff like that. You can do it yourself. In fact, we actually talked about doing that. That was our original plan, but with my work schedule and everything like that, it was going to take a little bit longer than we wanted. Than
I wanted.
Yeah. So we decided to pay for people to do that, right? But if you want to do that yourself, that's awesome. It's a great way to help save yourself some money. But just make sure you need to have the proper permits. You need to have all of that stuff lined out, the permits. Make sure you're using the right material when it comes to foundation. And all that stuff is going to change and vary by the area. Because the last thing you would want is to do all this work just to have somebody say, oh, this doesn't pass inspection, we can't put the house here, we can't connect the utilities or anything like that. So make sure before you start that, you get your permit, you understand everything that you have to do in regards to foundation, the type of materials, how deep you have to go, all of that stuff, just to make sure you've got it all lined out and you're set.
All right, now once you have the loan situation all figured out and what you're going to finance, what you're not going to finance, and you have your pre-approval, it's time to start shopping for your manufactured home. Now, before going and looking at homes, we highly recommend that you make a list of things that you have to have in your home that makes your home and your family functional for you guys. Also, have a little side list of bonus features that would be nice to have but aren't necessarily required. And then when you go start looking at lots, make sure that you look at multiple lots and don't just go to one location. All of the ones have different manufacturers, so you definitely want to try out a couple different lots and kind of pay attention to the salespeople. You want to make sure that you don't have one that is way too pushy, because that comes across as they're just going to tell you whatever you want to hear to get that sale out of you. You also don't want to go with a place that is too laid back and like no one's coming to help you. That means they're probably short-staffed, or they just have a really laid back policy. And once you buy a new home, who wants to be sitting there waiting for the home? Like, you're excited, you want to get that home. So a nice happy medium as far as working with a salesperson. And then whenever you're shopping with that salesperson, because most of the places that we went and looked at, like the person walked around with me. So the salesperson's with you as you go look at every model of home on their lot. You want to make sure that you don't feed them too much personal information about you and your family, so they can turn that information around and kind of feed you what they think you want to hear to try and get a sell out of you. So as little information, just mainly stick with the major requirements on that list that you guys need to have for your family. As you're looking around at models, some things to think about too is that yes, these are manufactured home and they are made a lot better than they used to be back in the day, but they are still manufactured homes, and it's not necessarily always the highest quality of stuff. It's great, but they're not made to last 100 years like some homes are. And things are going to break and need replaced in these homes. So, you know, is the kitchen sink a standard size that's something easy to replace, or is it going to require construction to replace that sink? Also, do you have standard size windows in the home for you to add blinds or replace blinds if your kids break them? Those are just some things to think about while you're looking around in the models of the home. And then whenever you actually find a model of home that you like, don't just find one home and stop there. Make sure you find 3 or 4 that are good candidates for you and your family, and then you can ask more questions and start that process of elimination of narrowing it down to which one is the one.
Yeah, and once you find those 3, 4 homes that you like, there's some additional questions you're going to want to ask. You're going to want to ask, and it really has to do with the quality and the longevity of the home. So you're going to want to ask stuff about the R value and the insulation. What type of insulation does this home have? What's the wind rating? Obviously, where we live, super freaking windy. We didn't want something where windows were going to fall out with a light little gust, or the doors were going to pop open. So you want to find out about the wind rating. What type of AC unit does it have? Heating, all those things. The roof type. Some are metal, some are the shingled roofs. So what type of roof is it? What sort of warranties does it come with? The homes themselves, they come with a warranty, but then inside the home, the appliances, the fridge, the stoves, dishwashers, all of that stuff, all of those have their own individual warranty. So you want to find out about all of that stuff ahead of time and use that to also help determine, you know, which one of the homes you're gonna choose.
And then most important question to ask them is when you can expect a delivery date of your home. And just know things happen, and the date that they actually give you is probably never, if I was a betting person, I would bet that it's never going to be the date that they actually give you. I would definitely add at least 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes even more depending on weather and material supply and all that. But, you know, if they say it's going to be 6 weeks, I would expect at least 2 months minimum before you get your home. And that may help you decide, too, what lot to go with, depending on manufacturer you go with as well, depending on how far out that delivery date is and does it work for you.
Now, once you have the home picked out, or the 3 that you are trying to decide from, just know going in that the price that they tell you up front, that is just the price of the home itself. That doesn't include some of the extras. That doesn't include dirt work or foundation, which typically the foundation is going to be the most expensive extra cost on there. But it's just the price of the home, right? And then all of the homes, typically they're just a base model, and you can add on some extras if you want. We chose to do a few. We added on some additional insulation to help make the house a little bit more insulated. We added some spigots. We increased some of the appliances we had. So there are some extras that you can choose to add on, but just know going in, even if it says, no hidden fees, there's always going to be a couple additional hidden fees. Primarily, it's the dirt work, and then any sort of the foundation work that needs to be done, and then whatever extra you choose.
I know that we've gone over a lot, and this is the process of flow of how things happened for us. We found our own land individually, and we bought and closed on that land. Then it came time for picking a home, so we went through that whole process that we've kind of gone over with you and picked our home and closed on the home. They won't start the manufacture or the build of your home until you have actually closed. So once it's closed, it's time for them to start building your home. Now, during that process, we added our utilities to the land. And if you're using the mobile home people for them to do their own dirt work and foundation, you have to go in the order of utilities that they allow, which is typically have your home built or delivered first, and then they add the utilities. But we were only having them do the home and foundation. We did all the utilities and buying of land ourselves, or we had our own people do it. So while our home was in the process of being built, we went ahead and added our utilities to our land, which we do have a video going over how to do all that, which we will link if you're interested in finding out more information about that. Now, once your home is ready, they will let you know that it is on its way to you, and your home will get delivered. And like we said, usually at a later date than what they originally give you on the sales lot. But when you finally get your home, it's delivered, but you don't get to move in right away. You have to have the mobile home company people come out to your home, and we had a double wide, so they had to set and join our house together, and they have to finish out the trim. It won't be completely done. There'll be some things that they still have to do first before you can move in. Now, after your home is set, your contractors, or if you're using the mobile home people's contractors, have to come back out and hook your utilities up to the house. So your electric, your water, and your sewage get hooked up after the home is all set. Then the mobile home people will come through and make sure that everything passes inspection, that the stove works, that the water runs in all the areas it's supposed to, there's no leaks, all of that. Once your home has finally passed inspection, then I keep saying finally, because I'm a very impatient person. I feel so sorry for the people that we had to work with. But finally that day came. When it's done with inspection, you get to move into that new home.
But wait, there's always going to be a little bit more to it, right? You're going to have insurance. You can't own a home without having insurance, just like you don't have a car without having insurance. And anybody who's had insurance, you know that you're going to want to shop around and try to find the best rate for you. Maybe not the cheapest, but you probably don't want to go with the first one you find because it might be $100 more expensive. So shop around, find insurance that's going to work for you, but make sure you check on any add-ons, right? So us living in Oklahoma, tornadoes, that's just kind of par for the course. All insurance plans in Oklahoma cover that. But because of, the oil field and fracking, that's an extra thing for us for earthquake insurance. And we actually do get earthquakes in Oklahoma. It's a shock. So we have to add that on if we wanted. So just shop around. Make sure you have everything on that you need to. If you're in a flood area, make sure that's on your insurance covered. But also check for any sort of requirements. So, because if there's something that you're required to have on the home, and you don't have it, they could take it away. And we almost had that happen. We didn't realize that we had to have skirting. And we knew we had to have skirting. We just thought we had a little bit longer, and we were just going to do it ourselves when we had some extra money and we had the time. But we got 30 days, maybe 2 months after we moved in. It wasn't long after we moved in, we got a thing from the insurance saying that they were going to drop us because we didn't have skirting. And if you lose your insurance, the mortgage company can typically take your home from you. So make sure you check for any sort of requirements to make sure you don't miss something like that and potentially lose your home.
All right, we know this process is a lot and can be stressful at times, but it is definitely worth it. Through all these steps, we were able to work our way through and find the home that we consider the home of our dreams, and that is the Anatolian XL made by Clayton Homes. We thought it would be fun to give you a tour of our brand new home. This is the Anatolian XL made by Clayton Homes. It is 1,907 square feet. I went with a classic black and white on the outside, but there are other color options available. When you walk in the front door, it opens to the living room, but it is a nice open floor plan between the dining room, kitchen, and living room. You can see that each one of them is a pretty good size. And right off the living room is the master bedroom. A king-size bed fits in there. And the master bathroom has a nice soaker tub, double vanity, subway tile, and then one of my favorite features is the double walk-in closet. It has plenty of space for all of your belongings. One of the major selling points for me was the kitchen. I love this massive island with the pendant lights and the countertops. As you walk through the kitchen, you can see there is plenty of storage space, and right off the kitchen is the laundry room that has even more countertop and storage space. The home comes with all of your appliances minus your washer and dryer. All the appliances are new, smart appliances with Wi-Fi capabilities. Another upgrade we did on our home is instead of doing a single fridge, we did a double door fridge. A lot of homesteading is centered around the oven, and I just love the hood and oven in this home. I was also weirdly excited about having a brand new dishwasher in the home. It also comes with a Wi-Fi smart air control system, and one of the features I really liked is the whole house ventilation. There is a long hallway that leads to 2 identical bedrooms on the left. They are decent-sized spare bedrooms that will fit a queen-size bed, and each one has its own individual closet. The second bathroom has 2 separate vanities, one on each side of the bathroom, and lots of cabinet storage, which I really liked. I think this bathroom is fantastic if there is a family with more than one kid living in this home. The end of the hallway opens up to a large room. You have a couple options here to make it a bedroom, or we had it open up to one big giant extra living room space. The portion by the fireplace will be a man cave, and the back section of the room will be food storage, freezers, plant starting, a lot of our extra area for our multiple homestead tasks. We love our home and look forward to our first spring of storms rolling through this Oklahoma homestead. We will catch you guys next time. Until then, happy homesteading.